This election is all about women coming together and showing their power at the ballot box. Who you vote for is private, but everyone can check whether you voted or not. That means your friends, your coworkers, even your mother can check and see whether you voted. Don't let the women in your life find out you let them down. Vote by mail, vote early in person, or vote on November 5th.
Paid for by Story Network Foundation.
The 2024 presidential election is upon us, and everybody is saying that it's the most important presidential election of all time. And I think that that's nonsense, but we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about a feature on Instagram that no one really cares about, and I don't think anybody is ever going to use or gives a crap about, but I'm going to talk to you about it anyway. And then we're also going to talk about conferences. Enjoy.
Were you calling to me from outside of a dream? I wanna live. I wanna love you a little longer. I was invincible many years ago when I was so much stronger.
You're listening to The Age of Jeremy. My name is Jeremy Quintanilla. This is a podcast where you get to hear my dogs maybe barking in the background, depending on how high I have the gain up. And sometimes you don't, but I think it's because I'm recording this late on a Monday night and my wife just got home. I think my wife just got home. Something's happening outside that's making the dogs bark. And I'm assuming it's because my wife just got home. But if you're new to this podcast is about all of the things that I learn in my journey of building multiple businesses, some that you may know, like 3T Warrior Academy, Age of Radio, Q Financial, Merlin, Smartest Way to Track Your Crypto, and some of the other ones that you may not know, which I'm not going to mention them right here. No, I'm kidding. I'm going to mention them right here, like our insurance business, which is actually part of Q Financial, but then Phoenix Crypto Assets. We used to have a business called Collecti Labs. I'm working on some really cool projects, and I'm super excited about them as well, and also about my Age of Jeremy brand becoming the brand of Age of Jeremy, being a dynamic force in Arizona. That's what this podcast is about, all the things that I learned along the way. We also sprinkle it in with some interviews with guests, and we sprinkle it in with what I like to call the lo-fi episodes, where I just ramble on or talk about things that are important to me. Hopefully you listen to the Halloween episodes that just came out last week on Halloween. There were two of them. One, I did some awesome movie reviews, and the second one was a scary story that I had in my life. And if you want to see some of the inside stuff behind this podcast, go to The Age of Jeremy on Instagram, go to the profile, go to the broadcast channels, click that broadcast channel. It's called Dope Updates. Join that broadcast channel, and I will send you little sneaky peeks of the stuff that I have going on. And also, it's a great place to put some of the content that maybe I might talk about some content here, and I'll post some of the snapshots there about what I'm talking about, so you can see it. And it's just a really great way for us to, I guess, become closer. It also gives me the opportunity for you to ask questions that you want me to answer here on this podcast related to finances, and then you can listen to it. And then that way, more people will be listening to the podcast. So that's awesome. And I'd appreciate it if you would share this podcast with as many people as possible. Make sure that you follow me on all social medias at Age of Jeremy, on LinkedIn and on Facebook. It's Cesar Jeremy Quintanilla, because I had to do that for verification. Also, make sure that you follow Age of Radioverse. Make sure that you join our Age of Radio Discord channel. You can follow Age of Radio on YouTube at Age of Radioverse, on Instagram at Age of Radioverse, and we have a lot of great lives from over this weekend at UwuCon, which I'm super, super excited about and proud of. And we got so much cool stuff to talk about in relation to conferences and what I learned from the conferences and what I'm excited about. And I'll be posting some of the pictures that I have from there in the Instagram broadcast channel if you want to check it out. And then you can also see some really cool pictures that we got of Dustin Malasini. You should follow him on Instagram at Dustin Malasini. He's going to get so pissed off at me. And we're going to be doing some more conferences, and I'm really excited. But let's get this a show on the road, as I used to say, and let's talk about that election that's happening right now. Right now, I would guess that Kamala Harris is winning the election, because probably most of the mail-in ballots are probably Democratic mail-in ballots, because the Republicans are anti-mail-in ballots. What would be my guess? I'm going to take a swig of my beetroot juice. Sorry, I don't know why I had to drink that right at that specific moment in time. I just wanted to have some coffee, and I didn't feel comfortable having a sip of my coffee, even though it's 8 o'clock at night. But I'm not going to the office tomorrow. It's okay. Right now, Kamala Harris is probably winning when you're listening to this. I guess it depends on when you're listening to this. If you listen to it like you should, right when you wake up in the morning, then you should see Kamala Harris winning. Is that going to happen at the end of it? I don't personally know, because it's not a rigged election, but everybody is saying that this is the most important presidential election of all time. All presidential elections are the most important of all time. I think that this one is more, that people think this one's more important because Donald Trump is an asshat, and Kamala Harris is, I don't know, wishy-washy and doesn't really have a plan for anything. And Jill Stein is, I don't know, maybe not qualified to do the job specifically, and is very pro Palestine, which America's always been pro Israel, obvious reasons, because we're a Christian nation, even though we're not really a Christian nation, and that's a fabrication from Christians, but we're not going to go into that right now. The country was built on slavery and tobacco. Just want everybody to remember that. I think that's important that we all remember how important tobacco was and how important slavery was to the growth of the United States, which are not two things that we should be proud of. And we need to redeem ourselves in some capacity. My personal opinion is through reparations, and there is a group out there that focuses on that, but we're not going to talk about that. My point is that this country is not what people think that this country is, and I encourage people to spend time reading and so forth and so forth. Now, that being said, who do I think is going to win the presidential election? I don't personally actually know. My guess is, if I had to choose based off of the current people that I know that I have voted based off of how they voted in 2016 and how they voted in 2020, because of them being more like them being with the crowd, right? Like my guess would be that it's going to be Donald Trump. Now, I hope that I'm wrong, because I think that Donald Trump is a horrible human being and would be a horrible president, because he was a horrible president before. And I think that it's just going to change the way in which China decides to attack Taiwan and we go into a global conflict. What I can say for certain is if Donald Trump is president, that I feel, based off of his policies, whether they're Agenda 47 or Project 2025, they do not fare well for the entire population. And what I mean by that is our rights as individuals, not only for women being able to do with their body and have an abortion. And my personal opinion on it is I don't know if there's a soul in there. I don't know if there's a life there. My belief system is if it can't survive on its own, it's not a human. And I guess I kind of even believe that on the opposite end of the spectrum. I'm very pro assisted suicide, and I'm very pro abortion. And so not a lot of things are going to change my mind about that. I've been that for most of my life. And I think that whether or not abortion is killing a baby, that thing, whatever it is growing inside of someone else's body. And if something was growing inside of my body and I didn't want that motherfucker there, I would like to take that out of my body. So that's my personal opinion. And you're all going to have to live with that. You're going to be like, oh my God, you're crazy. God's going to damn you. And well, the good news is I don't believe in God. And if I did believe in God, I would not have any interest in worshiping him, and I would have no interest in bowing before him. And in all honesty, I believe that I would be more powerful than him. So take that for what it's worth. Do what you want with it. May he smite me dead, I suppose. Okay, so that being said, I think that Donald Trump's going to win the election, and I think that's going to be horrible for everybody. Now, if Kamala Harris went, and again, like I said, it's going to be horrible because of women's rights. Sorry, I forgot to finish that thought. It's going to be horrible for women's rights, and it's also going to be horrible for LGBTQ rights. I think it's also going to be horrible for the lower and lower middle class, and maybe even some of the middle class. I think that it'll be beneficial probably for the people that Republicans usually try to make it beneficial for, are big corporations, because they're the ones that traditionally own the big corporations. So to that, I would say more Democrats need to go out and start businesses. and not turn them into giant. Well, that's probably because the Democrats are the ones starting the businesses that become startups that they then sell to the larger corporations, or they're doing them in a way that is trying to be fair and equitable to all the people that are a part of their organization as a small business. But we're not going to go into that. But that's probably what's going to happen. And I think that the way that I vote is I want to vote in a capacity where it's going to be the best good for all people. And in my opinion, the thing that's the most important to me is letting individuals be who they are. And if that means I have to pay more taxes over my life, so be it. If that means that Kamala Harris, who people think is, an elitist, and there's lasers that's, I don't know, boiling the water and trying to get rid of Florida or some shit, and they're trying to kill Jews, I don't know. My guess is that I think that people being able to be who they want and have that freedom inside of the United States, and for us to try to end the war, the I guess genocide that we can be thinking of that's happening in Palestine. If those are the things that I want to end, and I think that we might need a more of a level head. I've gone back and forth on this idea that Donald Trump might be a better president during wartime. I actually think that Kamala Harris might be a better president during wartime, just because of the level headedness and being able to listen to her advisors. The thing that Donald Trump, from the information that I've read and from the report from when about the Russian situation and the January 6th situation, and he doesn't give a shit or listen to any of the people that are around him that are smarter than him or that know better than him. And because of that, I think that would make him a horrible fucking leader during wartime. And so I've changed my thought process on that. So there's nothing that I think that he could do well during the presidency. He's already listed as one of the worst presidents of all time by both scholars on the left and the right. So I don't know. There might be some weight in that, I suppose. But I think that Donald Trump presidency would be worse overall for the world, and I hope that he doesn't win. Now, that being said, I'm not a huge fan of Kamala Harris. As I mentioned before, I don't want you to vote how I vote, but since it's voting day today, and I don't know who would listen to me at this point in time and vote that way, is that I voted for Jill Stein just because I believe that we need to vote for a third party system. I think that she would be a fully on better president than Kamala Harris? I don't know specifically. I think that she would, but I also think that she would shake it up a lot, similar to how Donald Trump shook it up. He just shook it up to the right. She would shake it up more to the left. And I think that we're going to see a lot of people voting for Jill Stein. And I think that we're going to have the largest percentage of people voting green this election. But I could be wrong. I don't know. There's been a lot of push from the left telling the rest of the left not to vote for Jill Stein, that it's a vote for Donald Trump. And I think that's garbage. And I think that you should vote for who you believe is going to be, good for whatever it is that you want that person to be. For me, I want it to be the person that I think is going to be the best for the whole world, and not just America and not just for myself. Some people are going to vote just for how they want it to affect them, and they have every right to do that because it's their voice and it's their vote, and no one should be shamed for the person that they choose to vote for. And I do not think, and I continue to say this, not all Trump supporters are racist, but all racists are Trump supporters. And so do with that what you want. We'll be right back.
Who you vote for is private, but everyone will know if you voted or not. It's a matter of public record. And when this election is decided by a handful of votes in your neighborhood, you don't want your friends and family to know you let them down. Voting is easy. Make a plan to vote by mail, vote early in person, or on November 5th. Make sure people know you did your civic duty.
Paid for by Story Network Foundation.
Kroger Delivery has one mission: to deliver the freshest food right to your door. That's why our drivers are pros. Our trucks are refrigerated. And when it comes to low prices, we always deliver. With $20 off your first order of $75 or more, there's no better time to get in on the action. Mission accomplished. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Instagram released a new feature today that is stupid. And, but I'll probably use it. It's not going to really provide you any full value about anything, but, I think it's important to talk about because again, I am an advocate for social media. I actually now communicate more with people on social media. I talk to people more through social media. I try to meet people through this in social media and get away from this in social media so that I can meet them in real life. And that's one of the greatest things that I love about doing conferences is because you meet so many people. And we're going to talk about that here in a little bit and why that's important because you get to meet more people, you get to talk to them, and hopefully you can meet them outside again in real life so that we don't always have to be stuck on social media, but utilize social media for your brand, for your business, for your funness. And one of the features that they just added was, so if you know what notes are, if you're on Instagram and you go to your profile, at the top, there's a little thing that says drop a thought. And you can put a thought. I'm podcasting right now, And I'm going to take a screenshot of that. Boop. And I'm going to share that. And now what you can do is, that's been a feature for a while, but what you can do now is if you go to your messenger in Instagram, at the top, there's a little messenger icon, hit that and it'll open the messenger. And you can now see what other people are saying on their notes. Like mine now says, I'm podcasting right now. Insomni Matt says, I'm pooped, but he spells it in a fun pooped way. And now I can hold that down and I can like it. Supposedly I can like it. Oh no, it's double tap. I can double tap it and now it shows a like. And so now Lily, and Hope for Moms listens to my podcast and her mom's like, why are you following my daughter? She's over 19 years old and I'm not following her in that capacity. She's a friend of Ariana's and she's, I don't know, on my broadcast channel. So I'm going to double click hers and she's doing something and now it liked it. In what world that is helpful or beneficial in any way or how you would use that, I do not know. However, from a brand perspective, if more people are liking that, if you're sharing a great thought or you're saying something new or giving information, we can go over to Age of Radio and we could, put a thought there, super excited for all the Uwu Con footage. Uwu Con footage. Boop. I don't know why I'm doing boop every time. Okay, super excited. Did I spell excited wrong? What the hell's going on? Nope, I didn't. Super excited. It's going to look like I did if you go to the broadcast channel because I'm going to share it. And so now what's cool about that, though, the brand can share something and maybe more people will like that. Or you could say we're having a sale or, we're going to be here or we're going to be there. And you could see how people can, be engage with that specific thought or that specific note. You can kind of also think about it in a way like a tweet would work, right? It just, you don't read it in the feed. You would have to go over to Messenger and scroll through them, but you can leave thoughts throughout the day. You can add music to those little notes. I don't know how many people listen to the music when you leave them to a note. My phone's never really on. I feel like you have to push the volume button when you do that. But you could definitely leave your thoughts as a brand or as a business, and hopefully people would like it. And then you see that people are seeing it. I just don't think that everybody's going to remember to like it. And I don't think everybody's going to remember how to do it. So we'll see what happens. One of the other features that they had that I wasn't 100% on too, they have like the ability to leave like the note on the post. And either none of my friends are leaving notes on any posts, which means that I don't have a lot of friends that are super engaged with the stuff that's going on Instagram, or people just aren't doing it. Like you can hold down, when you go to share on Instagram, you can click add a note and you can then add a note. And when people that follow you see that video and then they'll see your note and then it's kind of like, oh, that's cool. That I think is a really cool feature. And I think that's a really cool way for brands, whether you're a business or a content creator, to talk to people in the space on, posts that you like. It might be because mine's not specifically niched. So maybe if we did it more on some of the cosplay ones, because on Age of Radio, because a lot of the cosplay community follow us. If there's a podcast community and you do that, then they'll see that post as that note as well. And maybe that'll create more engagement. But I think that the idea is there. I just don't think it's latching on, maybe because people don't know about it. They don't know how to use it, why to use it. So hopefully you listening to this, you can give it a shot. You can go and like some of my notes there on Instagram. But I'd be curious, if you're in the broadcast channel, drop me a line. If you're on Snapchat, snap me. But the broadcast channel would be the best. I'm sorry, you can't comment in the broadcast channel. So snap me or message me in Messenger or hit me up on X at Age of Jeremy Q. And just let me know, what are your thoughts on that? I'll put a post out there for you to comment on it about that specific feature on X. If not, just message me in Instagram or Snapchat me, and I'll also do the same for Threads. And just let me know what your thoughts are on the note feature and on being able to do the likes so that we can bring more awareness to it and see if people start using it. And we're going to do one commercial.
This episode is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first, like to check the date of the big game first before you accidentally buy tickets on your 20th wedding anniversary and have to spend the next 20 years of your marriage making up for it. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
I had a fantastic time at UConn. We did tons of interviews. We were able to figure out how we wanted to have everything set up, not only at the table, but we had a backdrop, we had chairs. We were able to do lives. We were able to use the Roland Go Pro X. Let me turn around and see what it's actually called. We were able to use the Go Mixer Pro X by Roland. It is a fantastic piece of equipment. There are some things that I don't like about it. You don't have ability to track the gain. You can, I guess you can see it peak if it goes to yellow or red. The problem is it's not multiple track. You can multiple track it, I guess, but not track it, but have multiple inputs for microphones. But there's only one XLR. That's one thing I didn't like about it. If we had two XLRs on this bad boy, it would have been beautiful. And then we were able to run a line out to run to a speaker. So when we were doing the interviews, people that were walking by could hear us do the interviews, and that created people to stop and watch, especially when we had the amazing cosplayers there. And that's really what we're trying to really focus on. At the next event that we have, I really want to figure out how to do a StreamYard Live for Cause Talk Live to be able to have all of them set up and do a whole show. So that was something that I kind of was able to test, and we got an idea for. The second thing was I wanted to have Dustin and Josh there to help with filming, and they did film stuff, and it was great. The problem is Saturday night is when I realized, okay, I should have a schedule when I'm doing interviewing. And so because of that, I'm going to do the interviewing on, because of when I thought about it, I started doing the interviewing on, Sunday was the majority of the interviewing that I had planned. The rest of it was kind of like, I don't know, winging it to kind of figure out how I wanted to do it. And so once I figured that out and I did the interviewing, I wished that I had them there so they could have done shorter film clips. Now, Joey did take a lot of clips. I don't know if he did any film. He shared it through me through an iCloud that I haven't had a chance to look at, but I'm going to look at and start posting some of it here soon. Probably some every single day. And then I'm going to start needing to figure out to hire a media person to start distributing this in some capacity, because we are doing a lot of these events moving forward. Because one of the things that I was researching and I have been studying is the importance of conferences and or trade shows. Depending on a trade show is different than a conference, but the conferences that's open to the general public. Trade shows, in my opinion, are usually open for like people that are in a trade, and it's about that trade to learn. But like the reason why you would go to them is each is very similar. It's just one for like a business perspective, about a specific trade. And then the conferences is about, a specific niche. Like the one that we went to is UWuCon. It's anime and animation. That's what the conference is for. So there were a lot of voice actors. There were a lot of anime actors. The guy that voiced SpongeBob was there. He did a concert one night. I didn't go to it because I was so tired from running the booth and from talking all day and doing lives. So there's lots of, I'm really excited there's lots of benefits of doing a conference. I'm excited that we did a conference, and I'm excited that we're going to do a lot of more conferences. We have one coming up in December, at the beginning of December for LibraryCon. We have for Glendale, we have the Tempe LibCon, which is another LibCon is LibraryCon. And then we have another one in, I want to say, We'll try to be at the Game On Expo, then we'll try to do Phoenix Con, then there's Yuma Con, and there's Tucson Con. So my goal is to really focus on all of these specific cons, and then also to start looking at how to do podcasting conferences for part of Age of Radio. So it'll be all the cosplay, the anime, the animation ones, because geekdom and podcasting, affinity, and talking about the stuff and arguing about the stuff not arguing, but discussing those topics all go hand in hand. And so I feel like podcasting is a big part of that, and it's going to get bigger and bigger, as will cosplay. The second part is that I want to also do it for insurance and financial services and investing. So my goal is to focus on Age of Radio doing conferences, Q Financial doing conferences, and then also getting Merlin into more to showcase Merlin, the app that we have. And if you want to check that out, you can go to merlincrypto.com. So I want to talk a little bit for the rest of the episode about why you should probably get into conferences and why there's benefits to you to be a part of them. And they're going to be things that I've probably talked about before, but I think it's worth noting again, because I was listening to a Y Combinator episode on YouTube, and one of the things that Y Combinator talked a lot about was the importance of going to these types of conferences when you're starting out and you're building your business, and then even after that, because not only is it a great networking opportunity, as I'll talk about here in a second, but it's also really good from like a learning perspective. All right, so the number one reason I believe that you should attend conferences is for the networking opportunities, and this is one of the main things that was talked about during the Y Combinator episode that I mentioned. And if you haven't seen Y Combinator, you can go check it out on YouTube, and I'll post their page in the broadcast channel on Instagram for you to easily be able to find it if you're following me on the Instagram broadcast channel at Age of Jeremy Dope Updates. Okay, so networking opportunities. So conferences bring together a diverse group of people, and specifically in that specific niche. If it's a trade show, it's in the profession itself or various industries and backgrounds. This creates a very unique environment to allow you to network with people, to meet people for collaborations, which is one of the reasons why I love going to these conferences, is because I have like thousands of cards, not thousands, but I have a lot of cards from the Comics and Cocktails event that we went to, from Game On, from Phoenix Fan Fusion, and now from UwuCon. I have built so many networks for people to have on my show to talk about the cool stuff that they have going on. Like I interviewed Carolyn Turner. She has 2 books that she put out about cosplay, the Adventurer's Guide to Cosplaying and the Cosplay Workbook. You can check them out at Amazon. And you can, more importantly, I don't want you to click a link here. I want you to go and watch them on Instagram at Age of Radioverse, the interview that I did with her, so you can learn about those books. But the point is that it provides you with the ability to collaborate with people, not only from the perspective of gaining, money or from bringing people on my show, but it also allows you to meet new friendships that you'll probably see at other conferences. So this wasn't the first time that I had seen Carolyn. I'd probably met her a few times in the past, or at least once, but this was an opportunity for me to actually talk to her, get to know her a bit. And now we will build a friendship, and we'll have her on the show and so forth. And she can always come to my show when she's doing things that she wants to put out into the world as a content creator. The other thing that it allows you to get are mentors. Now, I don't have a lot of mentors in like a, I guess, an organized fashion, the way that my business partner, Coach JV, does. This is going to sound really, I don't want to say this because it's going to sound really arrogant. There's nobody that I have currently met that I feel would be worth having them mentor me in a professional way. Now, that being said, as advisors, I've met tons of different advisors. So if we're looking at it from an advisor standpoint, I have all kinds of people that I've met for advising. I've met Joey throughout my podcast career with relationships. I've met Thermo at conferences that I advise with her about stuff. So if you look at it from that perspective, I've gotten tons of mentors, but just not in a professional way. And then you can also find future employers, or you can find future employees. I was thinking about the future of Age of Radio and getting it bigger and bigger and bigger. And I was like, it'd be really cool if one day, Thermo just worked for, with me full time, and then she could own, shares of the business, because I believe that all employees should own shares of businesses. And I can't do that with all of my businesses, but the ones where I really want to try that out on is at Age of Radio, and I'm still working towards that after all these years. So, there's a really great opportunity for networking in this capacity, and it builds strong professional network, and it can open doors to all kinds of new opportunities. So that's one of the reasons why you would want to go to these conferences, not only from a trade, like from you running a trade booth, right? But also, or a booth, an exhibit booth, but also from the perspective of you actually just going to them to meet people, right? But I just encourage you, as I talked on my panel on Friday at UWuCon, is that the goal, though, is don't go there trying to meet someone with the expectation that you're going to benefit and that they're going to benefit from being with you. The benefit should be in your guys' relationship that you are building, not, in my opinion, from anything else. And that relationship will go further than anything, in my opinion. The second thing is knowledge and skill enhancement. So attending conferences exposes you to the latest trends. It exposes you to the latest research and innovations in your field. You get to see keynote speeches. A lot of the time there's panel discussions and there's workshops that offer insights that can enhance your knowledge and skills. And this continuous learning is super essential for staying competitive and relevant in your profession. So even at this specific, con that was about anime and animation, I did a panel on, podcasting, Thermo and Jinx and Insomni Matt, I think, or Insomni Matt and Jinx did a panel on, safety. There was also animation panels. There's workshops. Me and Joey went to one and we talked to Brian Polito of Lady Death Comic. He's the creator of Lady Death Comics. I can't remember what his whole company's called, but the main comic is Lady Death if you want to check it out. And we were able to learn from him about kickstarting. And so again, going to the panels and the workshops is one of the most important parts about these conferences, because that's where you enhance your knowledge. Now, at a conference like, say, UWuCon or Phoenix Fan Fusion, you can enhance your knowledge around that field. Like you can enhance your cosplay knowledge. I sat in and filmed a special effects panel that Carolyn and Amber and Thermo did, and again, I want you to know their handles. So Thermo is at Thermo AZ, Amber is at Amber Bright Props, and Carolyn is at Cyborg T Rex. So again, Cyborg T Rex, Amber Bright Props, and Thermo, they all did a panel about special effects. They talked about the makeup that they use, the difference between utilizing I want to say spray on paint as opposed to painting, different types of paints that you can use for like body paints. They talked about, using silicone for your masks and for some of your, special effects. And so I think that is really important, because again, you might be thinking, oh, it's a UWuCon, it's a bunch of people dressing up. But for people that are involved with those types of things, they have panels that help them get more advanced at those types of things. And you can think about that in any type of trade or in any type of business. And that's what the purpose of the conferences are for, is for you to go and find out about new products and services, and then also enhance your knowledge and skill set. And then it can be very inspirational and motivation. So hearing from industry leaders or others that are in your field or pioneers in your field, hearing about their success stories, their challenges, their achievements, it can motivate you to pursue your goals with renewed vigor. It can help with you finding new people to partner with to do that as well, that can keep you motivated. Me leaving there, just going to this one, I did leave motivated. Now, maybe not in the context of what I just said. I left more motivated because I knew how I was going to do the audio at the new events. And I knew that, one, I was comfortable enough to do it. There's things that I need to get better on. Two, I found that people wanted to do it. People like talking about their stuff. I don't know why I wasn't thinking about that, but people like talking about their stuff. And what was cool about it was I found, by doing it this first time and spending hours interviewing people, it was easy for me to not necessarily need to know everything about the person, and not necessarily needed to know everything about the craft or what they do, to think of good questions to ask them and to create conversation. Because me not knowing about it helped me actually ask better questions about them sharing it, that then people that are listening to it probably didn't know either, because I didn't know it because I don't know anything about it. So there's lots of inspiration that can happen at it. And so you can leave feeling energized, and you can leave coming up with new ideas and feeling ready to tackle, say, new challenges. Again, there's also professional development. The UWuCon conference, maybe not so much, but like if we go to the QuickBooks or the Intuit conference, or if I go to an insurance conference or a finance conference or an investing conference, or I'm going to go through my stocks and commodities magazine to look for like algorithmic trading conferences and things like that to go to get to know people more. But many conferences offer professional development sessions. Again, like when we go to the one that's for XRP developers, that conference, the development sessions are around enhancing the development of that. Or if you go to Adobe's learning conference that they have for their e-learning software, that conference is around teaching you more about how to get better in the specific profession of e-learning or of education or of learning. So a lot of that happens at these types of conferences, and that's why it's important for you to to sign up for them and to go to them. The other thing is it exposes you to new ideas. I would probably say that this one probably should be, I would say I would put this higher on my list. Exposure to new ideas. So conferences are a breeding ground for new ideas and innovations. Engaging with thought leaders and participating in discussions can spark creativity and provide fresh perspectives. And this goes for just even watching them. Like I watch Screen Time every year from Bloomberg, a conference that they have that I would love to go to. And just listening to some of the panels and the interviews that they've had on that. I wasn't even at the event, didn't get to see any of the panels that were there, just the ones that they showed, on the live stream. No workshops, obviously went to, but I still got some, exposure to new ideas that I was like, oh, I understand that. I think I would like to learn more about that. So maybe I can implement it into my work in some capacity. So again, when you're going to these types of things, even if the conferences like UWuCon that I went to with cosplay, it exposed all of those people to new ideas with cosplay. It exposed all of those people to new ideas in anime and in voice animation if they took part in all of the other stuff besides walking around and buying stuff at the vendors. Now, from a non-business perspective, if you're listening to this and maybe you don't have a business, career advancement is something that could be very beneficial for you to attend conferences as well. So being active in your professional community by attending conferences, it can enhance your reputation and visibility. You can meet new people. You can add them to LinkedIn. Presenting at conferences or participating in panels can establish you as an expert in your field. That's the reason why I did my panel, is I want to be known as an expert in the field of podcasting, interviewing, audio. Probably need to get a little bit better at the audio. Probably need to change this mic out and fix some things up. Again, I know what to do, but again, doing it is always a little bit more difficult. And I love just jumping on here real quick, doing the podcast, especially in times like this where I was at the conference all weekend. I didn't have a chance to do it, and I'm doing it Monday night to get it out to you guys for when you hear it on Tuesday. So again, career advancement, lots of opportunities there. One of the other things that builds confidence, presenting your work or your ideas at a conference can be a great confidence booster. I was able to do my panel. I talked about it. I had got an idea of more how I want to talk about this specific deck that I have, and going out there and talking more about why people should have a podcast, why they should share their voice in podcast format. And so I want to continue to utilize that, and it created my confidence in it. Now, I can speak to crowds pretty easily. I don't have a problem with that because of the fact that I do it at our Freedom Conference. I do it at Revive. I talk on here all the time. I go live. I talk in front of groups when I'm at conferences. If I need to, round people up, I have no problem with that. But in the capacity of, going and talking to people in general, network with them, you'll also build confidence in that capacity. So go out there and give it a shot. And you'll find as you do a few of them, do like 4 or 5, give it a couple of years, and then you'll be a freaking pro at it. The next thing is it helps you stay updated. So things constantly change in industries, and that goes for any industry, not just the ones that I'm a part of. But it's really important that you stay updated in what's evolving. I think that one of the things that I see, the people that I see that fall behind the most are people that aren't staying up to current trends. Now, it doesn't mean that they have to just follow trends. There are some, I think Harvard Business Review released a video maybe about how to know about trends before they happen. I didn't watch it, but again, you don't want to just go, you don't want to just like hear about a trend and then change your whole identity and business about it. But knowing about what's going on with those trends will help you make better assessments of how they can impact your business and how you can utilize them to grow your business or your brand. Or if you're an entrepreneur or you just want to focus on your career, they can help you stay updated on all of those things so that you can stay updated with those technologies, regulations, and best practices. And then the last one that I want to mention is it creates lasting memories. It is a blast, at least for me, for all the conferences that I've been to. Every time I go to another XRP Las Vegas, we talk about the previous XRP Las Vegas and all the memories that we have from it. At this UWuCon, I was able to talk with Jinx and Thermo about previous cons. I heard all of them talking about previous cons. They were sharing memories. Everything was fun. And I think that that's really the key to fixing this loneliness epidemic that I believe that we have in the United States, or that I know that we have in the United States, because there's enough evidence to support it, that we need to get out, meet people, build strong relationships with people, not always expect something in return, except for building a strong relationship, creating that vulnerability, and then finding people where you can re-meet with them to share experiences. And those are the things with those people, that those relationships, those are the things that truly make us happy. And the more and more wealth that I get, the more and more businesses that I start, the more and more businesses that I do, I'm finding that I really just want to share them with all the people that are around me and continue to build really strong relationships with the people that I'm getting to know from this, I guess, push into becoming the most well-known or most famous person inside of Arizona, right? And I say that jokingly, but I do want that. One, because it'll help me reach and help lots of people. But two, it'll allow me to meet new people in amazing ways, build strong relationships, create vulnerability with them, and have long-lasting relationships. So again, to recap some of those things that we just talked about, some of the reasons that you should go to a conference are networking opportunities, knowledge and skill enhancement, inspiration and motivation, professional development, exposure to new ideas, career advancement, building confidence, staying updated, and creating lasting memories. So I'm curious to know about what are some of your favorite conferences that you have been a part of. Let me know in my Snapchat. Let me know in maybe the YouTube comments. Let me know on X. I would just love to know. And I hope that you are going to be going to some new cons soon. Let me know what those are as well. And as I always say, be thankful, grateful, and kind. And we will talk with you next time. Bye.
You were born in your dying, honey. I'm already crying for you.
Thank you so much for listening to The Age of Jeremy. This is a podcast all about me, Jeremy, but more importantly about the things that I'm learning along the way of being an entrepreneur and a small business owner and a large corporation owner as well. If you like this podcast, make sure that you give it a 5-star review, share it with someone. If you're not subscribed to it, subscribe to it. Really appreciate it. The opening song was Gaslight Anthem's Positive A Change. The closing song was Trevor Hall's Gardens. And I am recording still into my Neumann microphone, recording to an L8 by Zoom, one of the best companies of all time. Check them out at zoomcorp.com. I am recording on the software Cubase, and I use Waves plugins. And one last time, be thankful, grateful, and kind. Bye.